So, something I notice a lot on YouTube and the internet in general is that people love making videos reviewing the live action remakes of animated film. Bet you're probably wondering, hey, Benita Phoenix, you should review these movies as a way of being in on the conversation, since you're a movie reviewer, right? No. Look, sorry to disappoint everyone, but I cannot stand these movies. I hate how much money they've made. I hate that we're still getting them even after how bad they've been. And it doesn't really help that we can't really have these movies go away when they still make billions of dollars because everyone wants to review these movies. So instead, I'm gonna do something different. Instead of wasting my time, money, and energy on a couple of movies that so many people already reviewed the crap on, I'm going to talk about a movie that I actually thought was really good and recommend that you check out instead. Because we need to shift our focus to bringing attention to good movies. And that film being none other than Pixar's Elio. Yeah, you know, Pixar, the animation studio known for some of the greatest films ever made. Goes without saying that they've had quite a strong history, and I've always been dedicated to checking out whatever new ideas they have in store. Hell, I love them so much, I decided to rewatch all of their films to prep for Elio. Yes, including this one. And honestly, it was worth it. It was totally worth being reminded of how talented all these artists are, and how memorable these movies are. How can you not like the people who helped brought WALL-E to life?
Wow.
Elio seemed a bit interesting, being about a young boy who gets transported from Earth to a galactic space station, where he has been mistaken as an ambassador, and thus hijinks ensues. This is a movie that many weren't quite sure about the quality, considering this had been delayed quite a few times, with a trailer already dating back to 2023 when Elemental came out. Even from that trailer to how the film is now, it's clear that the final product of Elio is a little different than what was initially advertised. But honestly, I don't see that as a disservice, as Elio is such an incredibly sweet movie that does what Pixar is known for, really tugging those emotions with characters and a story that really resonates. Since Elio is seen as a bit of an outcast, he feels left out. And this movie is about him trying to make a new life for himself in a world that accepts his unique personality. It's one of the big things that really helped make Elio feel very personal, as the neurodivergent autism allegory is there, and done very well, as the film really emphasizes the importance of not only accepting someone and learning to work with their differences, but also embracing what makes them so unique. It gets even more apparent when Elio becomes friends with this slug creature that is also pretty adorable, and a likable presence to add to Pixar's buddy-buddy story. I think a lot of kids can relate to this kind of story, and in a time where people are feeling more isolated and not feeling like they're understood, to have a movie that showcases that is something we really need right now. The movie has a decent amount of dramatic moments that really let you soak in the emotions, and it's something that is translated very beautifully, especially in the third act. On top of that message and theming being very prominent and thoughtful, the movie itself is visually stunning. It does retain a bit of that newish Pixar look, with the characters having a bit of a Western anime look in the vein of Steven Universe, but they're still so expressively delightful to watch, and all the colors seen in this film makes me really want to recommend it to kids. Even if the movie does have surprisingly a decent amount of horror-like moments that could be creepy for some, like the way it's directed at times. I'm surprised a movie with such cutesy looking characters can have effectively creepy moments. But hey, we all had movies as a kid where they creeped us out with one moment. But we still loved it anyway. Kids need to have some new original ideas. In fact, that's the #1 reason why I recommend that families should see this. In a world where we're constantly getting live action remakes of stuff and playing it off that this is what the kids want, when I think we should encourage more original media for kids to grow up with and relate to, that aren't just lame hand-me-down versions of movies from our own childhood. Elio is a new IP that deserves some attention, and I think kids years from now can look back fondly on a movie like this as something they really connected with, and can influence their own unique sense of passion and wonder. Is it Pixar's absolute best movie? Not quite. It does suffer a tiny bit from characters not having quite as much of an impact to the story as the film leads you on to believe. They're all likable here, but there are quite a few that I feel like could have had a lot more to do in this film than they actually do. Yet it doesn't derail the film too much, as Elio still keeps its focus very well on its title character, in a movie that manages to be charming to watch. Pixar making another really great movie is just enough, and my main hope is that everyone who saw the live-action Lilo and Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon movie really gives this movie a chance as well. I know it hasn't been doing super well on its opening weekend, but I really hope, much like Elemental, this movie has some legs and sticks around, especially being the only major animated theaters for kids right now. I highly recommend taking the time to see this. Now, some of you might also be saying, well, don't just recommend a Disney movie that's still a big studio film, which, fair enough. There are more movies out there that are original that should be seen that aren't just from the major studios. So with that in mind, I also highly recommend checking out K-Pop Demon Hunters as well. Another really unique animated movie that packs a lot of punch, and it's just a blast to watch. I mean, it has stylistically expressive animated girls as the leads. What's not to like? Point I'm trying to make here is that for those who are feeling there are too many remakes and that's all we get, maybe spend some of that time giving a chance to new talent and IPs that are doing different things between both K-Pop Demon Hunters and Elio. To quote the great Anton Ego, the new needs friends. And Elio is the new talent that needs some friends to go on a sweet journey through the cosmos with. So take that for what it's worth. And I'm gonna give Elio a 9 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed my news review. How did you guys like Elio if you happen to see it as well? Comment below and let me know your thoughts on it. And I will see you guys again in the near future. Later.
This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen.
This is the bathroom.